King of Iron Fist Tournament 7. Hwoarang.
Alright guys, what's up? This is Rebel X Talon here with my first tutorial video. I've tried this a few times, but to no luck, something was happening. So I'm going to try to keep this really brief and really quick. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to choose 5 moves from each of his stances. He has 4 of them. Talk about a couple of his grabs real quick. His main launchers, screw attacks, homing attacks, his power crushes. We'll talk about his moves that go into his stances. Not all of them, just the ones that the moves list doesn't really mention or that people don't use enough of, in my opinion. And then we're going to do some easy combos, a couple intermediate combos, and then we're going to do some rage combos. So actually, let's take that off for now. So a couple of things I want to get into before I talk about his moves is his stances. But before I get into his stances, I want to talk about the numbers. So if you don't already know, any fighting game that is involved with limbs gets related to by numbers, especially when it's on a different format. So like in this case, it's on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. I don't know nothing about the PC, so I apologize. But if you're using a regular controller, this should help. So your 1 is going to be your left jab. On the PlayStation controller, that'll be your square. And on the Xbox controller, that'll be your X. Your 2 is going to be your right punch. On the PlayStation, that's going to be your Y. And on the Xbox, is going to be... On the PlayStation, that's going to be your triangle. And on the Xbox, it's going to be your Y. My fault. And then you got your 3, which is going to be your left kick. The Xbox is going to be your A, and your PlayStation is going to be your X. And your 4 is going to be your right kick. And for the Xbox, it's going to be your B, and for the PlayStation, that's going to be your circle. I'm not going to get into details about everything because I'm trying to make this kind of quick. But that's how the number system works. So try to follow along as best you can. Write the stuff down. Do whatever you gotta do to stay caught up. So Rick, real quick, his stances. He has 4 of them. Technically he has 6, but the other ones he only has a couple good, only a few moves, like 1 and 3 for each of these stances. So I'm not gonna get into that. So his first stance is going to be your left stance. That's the stance he's in now. That's his default stance. You go into another stance and you duck or get hit or block, he's going to go straight back into it. This is actually something people exploit a lot. They'll like go into a stances just to kind of wig out their opponents. Just all that hoo-ha. Then you got his right foot forward, which is a quick tap of 3 plus 4. If you're on the PlayStation, that's X and circle. If you're on the Xbox, that's A and B. Hopefully I said that right. And then to get into your flamingo stances, your first way is going to be your forward 3, which is going to put you in left flamingo stance. And then you're going to hit forward neutral 4 to get into your right flamingo stance. Forward neutral means you won't hit forward and 4 at the same time. As you can see at the bottom right hand of my screen, I don't hit them at the same time. If you hit forward and 4, you'll do a move that puts you into right foot forward or right flamingo stance, but it has a hit involved. So keep in mind, it's the same principle but different move. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. For our first 5 moves is going to be in left stance. That's the stance you're seeing now. The first move is going to be 4-3. Does 26 damage. Is on block, and it is. Trying to see. Where'd it go? All right, it's -6 on block. It's fairly quick. This is probably going to be one of your staple pokes. Your next poke is going to be your forward 2. Quick little poke. If you sidestep up towards the background, I don't know if it necessarily makes it faster or safer, I should say, but it definitely makes the outcome faster. So I want to say it makes it safer. I could be wrong. Then you got your down forward 1, which is 0 on block or +1 depending on your range. And this has a 13 frame startup, so that's good. Your forward 2, I believe, is a 16 frame startup, and your 4-3 is an 11 frame startup. Your down forward 1+2. It's actually -3 on block, anywhere between -3 and -2. Not really a big difference. Also, depending on your range, but it's -3, but it does have better range, and it is also a 13 frame startup. And then you got your forward 4. This is more of a mid-range move, but it is extraordinarily valuable, and I would use this in every fight. It is -6 on block, so it is safe, and it is a 17 frame startup. So those are your 5 moves for your left stance. Again, that's 4-3, that's forward 2, down forward 1, down forward 1+2, and your forward 4. I try to mention these punches as much as I can because no Hwoarang player ever uses their punches. And the problem is that Hwoarang's punches are some of the fastest pokes in the game, even though he only has like 10 to 15 of them, but they still work. So that's that. For his right stance, or his right foot forward, he has his best pokes, I guess. One of them is 2-4-3, or his 4-3. His 4-3 has a 12 frame startup, while his 2-4-3 has a 10 frame startup, which is why I would encourage a person to use 2-4-3 more than his regular 4-3. But his 2-4-3 is -15. However, it does have that force crouch, and it has the pushback. So so you might get hit with like a wall rising move, but you shouldn't get punished for it too badly. I would have picked something else, but I tried to stray away from moves that you could use to get into a stance, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. His next one is going to be your back 2. This is actually +2 on block, and as you can see, it kind of has that pushback effect to them on block. It has a 16 frame startup, so that's definitely nice. You have your 2 back 4. It is a natural combo. It's -8 on block, so it's safe as long as you don't do anything afterwards. If you try to do something afterwards, after it gets blocked, you can trade. So be very, very careful. You have your down back 3-3, but you want to be careful with this because if a person knows that move, they're gonna know to duck, and it does take a minute for it to come out. The down back 3 by itself is only -11, so it's still not too blockable, or it's still not too punishable. You might get a punch, but since they're crouching, and a lot of wall rising moves take more than 10 frames or 11 frames to pull off, you should be pretty safe. maybe a punch, if maybe a punch. But down back 3-3 is only -2 with a 17 frames startup. Again, I try to avoid moves that put you into stances. Then you have his last move, which is going to be your forward 4-3. I love this move. I think it's great. I thought about straying away from it for the tutorial, but this is a beginner tutorial, a beginner to intermediate tutorial. And if you're fighting against the other beginners and intermediate players, a lot of them don't actually think to duck that last attack. But so I just want to point some stuff out. So say that you are just going ham with Hwoarang's pressure game, which is what he's strongest for, by the way. And you're just not getting anything. Like, these guys have this guy has mastered the art of blocking Hwoarang's pressure game. You can do 4-4-4-3, and you get yourself a free 2 back 4 or 2-3. I'll show you. The reason I prefer the 2 back 4 is because it does an extra 7 damage. And as you guys can see, he is blocking everything. I have it so he's blocking everything. And for some reason, they decided to make this plus 17 on block. So when you do your 2, it's only 10 frames. So you got 7 frames after you do it to make that contact. So you can do like regular 4 too, because that's like 12 frames. But this one's better, I think. And if they're against the wall, this will kind of wall slot them away. I want to say I'll get into it later, but I want to say I'll get into it later, but like I said, I'm trying to keep these quick. So that's cool. That's all for that one. 17 plus 17 on block, 22 frame startup. So now we're gonna go into left flamingo stance moves. I did have to change some stuff around for this one, but I am gonna point one other move out, so it's gonna be 6 moves. But I didn't put it on the top 5 because it is punishable really, really badly. But I'll get into it in a moment. Well, it's punishable for being a really good poke, but I'll get into it. So your first move is going to be your 3 forward. This is really good, actually, because hold on. Because it wall carries. This is Hwoarang's best wall carry. It's +2 on block with a 14 frame startup. So really, they have 2 frames total to throw in a jab in between your kicks, which a lot of people can't do. So you can pretty much spam this all day. Then there's down forward 3-4. Be careful using this move. The down forward 3 by itself is -12. The down forward 3-4 is -13, and it doesn't push back. So be very, very careful. Your next one is going to be your forward 3. This is actually +3 on block, and it is a 19 frame startup. So this is actually really, really good. Next one is going to be your down back 4. This is -12 on block, so be careful with a 20 frame startup. And then your last one is going to be your back 4. This is going to be -8 with a 16 frame startup. So last but not least, and then our last move I wanted to point out is this back 1. This is -3, and it doesn't really have great pushback, so be very, very careful, because if you execute it and it does land on a block, you're right there, so be very, very careful. But the reason I like this one is if you quickly go into left flamingo, as you can see, he kind of does a sidestep into the foreground, and then you do your back 3,